What's up, gangsters? And you know what? How about we just go ahead and get the most polarizing horror movie of the year out of the way? Let's talk about Skinamarink. I remember it was like at the beginning of this year that the movie started getting some buzz. Me looking up the trailer and going like, okay. I mean, yeah, that was mostly my reaction. It looked interesting for sure, but I knew that this was something that I would like really have to be in the mood for, something that I like really had to sit down for me to like fully experience it the way it's intended to be. Which just before I started working on this video series, I finally did. So let's see what all the fuzz is about.
Skinamarink's premise is generally described as two children wake up in the middle of the night to find their father is missing and all of the windows and doors in their home have vanished. Which, sure, it's just, we're not dealing with a traditional movie with a traditional narrative here. Skinamarink is a very lo-fi, experimental type of analog horror, and honestly, it might have just as well simply have no premise, as I barely got any of that from the movie. Because really, this movie is mostly just random shots of the interior of a house. And I don't mean that in a demeaning way, because it is literally mostly just random shots of the interior of a house.
But, okay, wait, let's back up a little bit. Like I said, this is a highly polarizing movie. I mean, like, some are going to absolutely love it and praise it, while others are going to dismiss it as pretentious bullshit and just absolutely hate it. So I do want to try and approach this, like this one a little bit like objectively, with sprinkles of my own opinion. With the massive spill being that this did absolutely nothing for me. And trust me, I tried. I watched it by myself in a completely darkened room, put the volume up high, put my phone away, no distractions, fully immersed. And I think I got about 30 minutes in before I realized that, like, yeah, this is simply just not gonna work for me.
But at the same time, I absolutely cannot hate on it either. I don't think it's a bad movie. It's like, I get it, it's just not for me. I love the whole childhood fear approach. It's very nightmarish, it's like a fever dream with dream logic. The usage of vintage cartoons definitely contribute to this overall atmosphere. I very much love the aesthetics of this movie. The grainy, underlit cinematography, creating these shadowy rooms with unconventional camera angles and shot compositions. It's so muddied that your mind starts playing tricks on you. Like, am I seeing something in the shadows there? Sometimes I wasn't even sure what I was staring at in the first place. It's great, but it's also just that. You know this liminal space aesthetic? It's basically that, the movie. It's sprinkled with some backrooms creepypasta vibes. And I love that aesthetic, like I sincerely do. I'm just not gonna look at it for 100 minutes straight. And that's probably my biggest problem with this movie. It's too damn long. It's like Begotten. Remember that one? Loved the whole atmospheric look and feel, but God, what a torture to get through. And I'm sure that, like with Begotten, there's probably a lot more to it, but I simply just do not care. Like, it might make the movie objectively better, or at the very least more interesting, like understanding like what everything means, but subjectively, it's just not gonna make a difference to my personal experience of watching the movie. Also, for such an avant-garde horror movie, why the fuck did they throw in such a tiresome trope as jump scares? I absolutely hated it. It felt so incredibly misplaced. I mean, okay, like, look at this. That's kinda eerie, right? But no, they of course had to do it like this. Why? Like, seriously, that's so completely unnecessary. Especially considering the fact that this whole movie sets out to scare you through the uncanny. Like this deeply rooted fear of the dark, the unknown. There's literally no need whatsoever for these fucking jump scares. There's two scenes in particular that did work really well for me, like that sincerely creeped me out a little bit, and neither of them relied on jumps. Like, as some of you might know, I'm not the biggest fan of jump scares in general, but these sincerely just like pissed me off.
Well, besides all of that, I really do not know what else there is to say about this one. It's quite a challenge to talk about such a divisive movie. Like I said a couple of times already, it didn't work for me, but like ripping it apart doesn't make me feel better than people who do love this. The same way I like to think that the people who do love this don't feel superior for doing so. Again, I get it, trust me, I get it. And like, I wish it would work more effectively on me, like that it would like creep me out more, but it simply just didn't. I have two distinct memories from when I was younger, coincidentally both at either of my grandparents during a sleepover, where I saw like something like dark or creepy that I just couldn't explain, but like totally freaked me out, but I just couldn't place it. And now like years later, like as an adult, like I'm pretty sure they were dreams rather than reality. I mean, like they kind of had to be, right? But the point I'm trying to make is like I absolutely applaud this movie for tapping into that exact fear, even though it didn't work for me personally. But like, just don't get me wrong, because I absolutely respect the artistry here, and it's honestly like it's amazing to see such a low-budget experimental type of horror movie make it into theaters and actually turning a huge profit. I mean, good for them.
And by them, I mostly refer to first-time feature-length director Kyle Edward Ball. Prior to shooting Skinamarink, he posted short analog horror videos on his YouTube channel Bite-Sized Nightmares based on audience-submitted nightmares, as well as his short film Hack, which is basically a 30-minute version of Skinamarink. It'll be interesting to see what he'll do after this, especially considering, based on all of his prior work on YouTube, this is kind of what he does. Like this very specific type of lo-fi aesthetic-y horror. But yeah, we'll see.
And in the meantime, like please let me know your thoughts on this movie in the comments. I know that I always say like, oh, like but with this specific movie, like since it is so polarizing, I would love to hear your thoughts. And like maybe we can converse a little more, like talk about the movie a little more in the comments. But until then, I will see you all in a couple of days. Cheers. Have a nice day.